This morning I was watching CNBC and Steve Minuchin came on and was saying that he was going to make a move to buy TikTok. And I said to myself, I think it was just last week I read where Steve had bought the New York City Community Bank by injecting $1 billion into it. Who is this guy? How is it he's coming up with all this money that now he's going to buy TikTok and step in line with Mark Zuckerberg and Sergey Brin and the Google people and Jeff Bezos and now is going to be in line with them stealing your assets, your data to make profits. And so now Steve's going to get in that line. And I thought, well, of course he is. That's probably the most valuable asset currently potentially on the market that anybody could buy and have an immediate access to tremendous profits. And it will probably end up being one of the top social media websites in the United States. Of course he's doing that. So I then said, I need to learn more about this guy. If he's going to steal my data, I need to know more about who he is. So I went to Wikipedia, and I would encourage you to do this. I've spent about 3 hours reading that Wikipedia article, trying to put it into context of who exactly this guy is and why is he coming after my data from my TikTok account. Well, I learned that he went to college at Yale. While he was there, he drove a Porsche and he lived in a hotel. No, he didn't live in the dorm. He lived in a hotel. His father was an executive with Goldman Sachs. So after graduation, he went to work with Goldman Sachs for 17 years. And then he left Goldman Sachs with about $46 million worth of Goldman Sachs stock and 12.6 million from his last 2 months of salary. So he was well funded. He created a hedge fund called ESL Investments. And in 2004, he was involved in financing 2 of Trump's towers. And it then, so shortly after that, a couple of years later, Trump sued him. Yeah, Trump sued him for, it didn't go into detail exactly what he sued him for, but nonetheless, then he became director of Kmart. Yeah, you remember Kmart. They went bankrupt. Well, before they went bankrupt, they were absorbed by Sears Roebuck. And Minuchin became the CEO and the head of the Sears Holdings Company in 2025, and then in 2022 he paid a fine of $125 million for what the Congress or the government said was for stripping Sears and Kmart of their assets, and what they basically did was Sears and Kmart owned a lot of very high value real estate. So they sold the real estate, then distributed the funds amongst the management of the Sears Holdings, and then bankrupted the place. Okay, and so the government fined him $125 million. Okay, that all makes sense. So in the meantime, in 2009, he bought one bank. It's one of the biggest banks in California at the time, and that was right, if you'll remember, in 2009 at the beginning of the financial crisis. And the government, as a part of the agreement of him buying the one bank, gave him $2.4 million for some stressed assets. He then bought several other banks in California, and that's when the foreclosures started. Well, he was responsible through one bank and his other acquisitions for 36,000 home foreclosures in California alone. That's right. And so he then sold that to CIT Group for $97 million. That's right. He came in and put 36,000 people out of their homes and then sold the homes for a profit and then sold the bank, what was left of it, for $97 million to CIT Group. In 2017, it was found in California that over 1,000 of the foreclosures that his one bank were involved in were in violation of California laws. But the prosecutor at that time refused to bring any charges against him. Some lady by the name of Kamala Harris. Yeah, she was who was the prosecutor in California, and she refused to bring charges against Stephen because of his illegal foreclosure activities. Does this all seem to be coming together as to who Stephen is and how he's connected and why he was on CNBC this morning? And even though he is, I won't say crook, but even though he has some shady background, they showed him total respect, and applauded him for his coming into to basically save our nation's security by not allowing China to gather the citizens' data and take it to China. Now, the key word in two words in what I just said was that he could not take the citizens' data, U.S. citizens' data, and let China take advantage of it. Whose data? U.S. citizens, right. So he'll probably pay us for our data, right? When he takes, are you shitting me? Did you just hear what I told you he is? He's a guy who comes in and says, I'll buy your pile of shit and I'll turn it into Shinola and sell it back to you. That's what he does. And so he's getting in line behind Mark Zuckerberg and Sergey Brin and Larry Page and Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates, and he's going to steal your data just like they are, and then sell it back to you. That's so this guy's a genius. And what's so wonderful about it is he's well connected. I mean, after Kamala wouldn't put charges on him, he was then appointed by Donald Trump as Secretary of Treasury, the same guy who sued him in 2022. No, when was it he sued him? 2004. Donald sued him for bad financial practices and won a suit on him, and then Donald comes and puts him as the head of our Treasury. Does this make any sense? No, it doesn't. But it doesn't have to, because it's all corruption. They're all crooks. And guess what? They're stealing our data. And now what's happening is through artificial intelligence and robotics, they're going to steal our jobs. Yeah, they're going to steal our data. They're going to steal our jobs. And then they're going to send us all off to an island somewhere, and they'll live in prosperity, the small group of them here. But who are they going to sell their products to? Oh, shit, that won't work. How are they going to do that? They'll find a way to dupe us again. Okay, that's who Stephen Minuchin is. That's why you need to know who he is. So how can you make money off of that? Just understand the game. Just understand how this works and how it's all rigged. It's all set up. But if you can figure out where Stephen's going to plant his money and you buy into this corporation of, and as I read through this, the same names kept coming up as to who his partners in these various corrupt acts are. And again, he gets appointed by Donald Trump as Secretary of Treasury, and he avoids prosecution for screwing 1,000 people on foreclosures in California by Kamala Harris. Are you kidding me? Oh my God! And he sits there and he's as proud as he can be of what he's done. The other thing, you will remember his name because when he was Secretary of Treasury under Donald Trump, he got remarried. Beautiful woman. My God, she's gorgeous. And so he wanted to take her on a honeymoon. And he didn't want to fly commercial, so he went to the Defense Department and said, I need a jet to take us to wherever the honeymoon was. And so they got on a military jet I don't know if it was a cargo plane or what, probably just a 727 or whatever. And they flew to their honeymoon and then flew back. And so it got noticed. And so he stepped up to the plate and he says, well, I'll pay for my wife's cost of flying. And he wrote a check for $500 to the federal government to reimburse for his wife's flight on this. The flight cost the government $25,000. You remember this, don't you? That's the same Steve Minuchin who's going to now take charge of TikTok and save us from the Chinese who are going to steal our data and perform espionage. Well, maybe he'll find another 1,000 people that he can foreclose on. I don't know. Holy crap! This is so corrupt. So and they all call each other crooked. Okay. I enjoy this so much because, I mean, this is almost as good as breaking into someone's house and going through their dirty laundry. Seeing what kind of pornography they've got hidden under their mattress, what kind of illegal moonshine they're drinking. Oh, okay. What we need to do is let our congressmen and our senators, mine's Tommy Tuberville. Oh, wow. Oh, but yeah, he coached Auburn as a football coach. Of course he's a senator. He's qualified, just like Steve Minuchin is. Anyway, if you want more of this, subscribe and like the video. And leave your comments. I enjoy your comments, even those of you who throw hate at me. I kind of, all you want to do is be noticed. Talk to you again tomorrow.
If AI is the Wild West, does that make data the new gold?